Hey guys, it's Thankful Thursdays with me, Rachel. I'm going to be joined next week by my new co-host, who is called Kel. I'll put a link to her YouTube page when I put this video up. So I'm really excited about that. She's, quite a good friend to me, and we've known each other a little while, and she's doing really well in recovery, and she's got similar aspirations to me in terms of wanting to be a therapist and stuff. So that's all quite positive. So I think you'll really like her input, and I think you'll find her really helpful. Today I'm going to look at an anonymous question which was sent to us. And it's quite a long one, so bear with me. I had this, hi, I was just wondering if somebody could talk about attention from the opposite sex. By this I mean just being hit on because of your outward appearances and not for the person that you are inside. I began to have eating disorder behaviours shortly after puberty, and because I was very shy, I don't think I was capable of dealing with attention that I began to get from boys. This only got worse as time went on. Now I'm 18 and I still feel very uncomfortable with this, but only if it is the only reason I feel that guys are talking to me. Now I have a few friends who mention things like this about me, and I don't like being seen for just that. I would rather have a more intellectual conversation that's not centred around looks, because that is so superficial. I guess my question is, how can you effectively deal with that, whether you're just meeting someone for the first time and that is the first thing they say, or if it is your friend who keeps on mentioning it. When you have an eating disorder, the last thing you want is to be noticed for your body. It's quite a lot to answer really within the time that I've got, so I might actually go over. I've been thinking about this over the last few days, and I wanted to talk about it because I especially related to it. My eating disorder didn't develop until I was 19. I actually took surprisingly well to puberty when I was growing up, and to the male attention that I received, and although at times there were periods when I found it very, very difficult, I very much kind of accepted my body, and I was surrounded by my close friends who also had, a similar relationship to their body in that they accepted it and were kind of proud of it. So I was used to sort of having my body, and between those ages of sort of 14 and sort of 18, sort of exploring my body and exploring relationships with guys, and just kind of getting to know myself in that way. I've always been self-conscious in some ways about myself. I've always found attention quite difficult, not overly difficult, but somewhat difficult, and I can kind of relate to the point that this viewer has made about wanting to be known more for sort of intellectual context and all of that. So I do connect to that, and I do understand that need to want to be known for who you are, not how you look. But at the same time, I'm also aware that, it's natural to feel attracted to somebody because of how they look, and that is very much part of human nature. And although at times that can feel very difficult as a woman or as a girl who is growing into a woman, that attention can sometimes feel a little bit too much, really. So my connection to that began as I developed my eating disorder. I was abused, raped before I developed my eating disorder, and all the associations I had with having a sort of sexual woman's body were attached to what happened to me. And so when I developed my eating disorder, it was very much about letting go of those female parts. And when I was particularly ill, I managed to make myself completely androgynous and void of anything that was female, and I also made myself quite ugly in the process, and in that way wanted to withdraw from attention. And what was very difficult when I was poorly was if I still received attention, because I truly thought that I had made myself so hideous almost that nobody would be attracted to me. Going through recovery and gaining weight has meant gaining back my female body. I have boobs, I have a stomach, I have hips, I have a bum, I have all of those things which the opposite sex are attracted to. And as impossible as that's felt at times, it's also something I've learnt to just have to accept, because I can't deny my body and I can't deny myself freedom from an eating disorder just because I'm scared of attracting attention from the opposite sex. So I guess for me it's been about that acceptance and been about finding some security in my own body, and building my emotional strength up so that if I am causing attention, or if I do get some sort of attraction from the opposite sex, that I don't feel threatened by that. Because I think that what the problem then becomes is that you feel that every person who looks at you that way, every guy who's attracted to you that way, feels like they are almost raping you, because it feels so uncomfortable to you, and it feels like they're overstepping a mark by simply sort of smiling at you, or by telling you that you're beautiful, or by eyeing you up as they do. And I think that the way you need to manage this is to try and find some security in your own body. Don't hide your body or be ashamed of your body, because just because you feel conscious and you're anxious about what that attraction causes, you have a right to be who you are and to have the body that you are. And at the age that you are of 18, I guess I want to say explore that body and allow yourself to be attractive and allow yourself to be seen, because that's okay. And quite often within eating disorders is what happens is we use behaviours such as losing weight or gaining weight as a way of hiding from that attention, and in the long run we just gain more attention for it. I probably gained far more attention when I was emaciated than I do sort of now, but at least now a lot of the attention is kind of positive. And of course it's very hard being told how well I look, or if male friends make comments, but it is something that I've learnt to try to accept, and try to know that it is almost part of human nature to be drawn to somebody who is attractive, or to notice somebody who is attractive or has a nice figure and things like that. And it doesn't have to be threatening, and you can actually maybe try to use it in a positive way rather than it feeling particularly negative for you. I think that when you're meeting somebody for the first time, the initial attraction is normally how you look, and as much as that might feel difficult for you right now, that is going to happen, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. If someone's drawn to you and feels attracted to you, that doesn't have to be threatening to you. And as you get to know somebody, it can become more than that. But I also think that when it comes to relationships, that there has to be that initial attraction. It's difficult for me to really talk about that, because I have relationships. Well, I'm in a relationship at the moment with another woman, and so there isn't that same threat. And when I have been in relationships with other men, I have found that quite difficult. I found that idea around being sexy quite difficult, especially when it was the body that was abused, and trying to accept that body and say that it's okay if someone's drawn to me in that way, and trying to appreciate my body for what it is and accept it for what it is. And I guess in some ways I keep myself safe by being in a relationship with a woman, but at the same time I can't help how I feel towards her. So I guess that to me is natural, and in many ways is less threatening, and yeah, I don't think I purposely do that. I can't help who I fall in love with, and I know I have many other friends who've been quite severely mistreated by men in the past, and that has stopped them from being able to have relationships with guys. And in some ways that is sad to me, because there is so much out there, and not every person is going to hurt you the way another person has. So I guess my kind of overall advice for you would be to try and learn and accept your body for what it is now, and try to feel comfortable with it. And if your friends are making comments, try and maybe discuss those with them, and gain some understanding of what they are saying and why you find that particularly difficult. I hope I've been able to sort of answer what you've asked me, and if you have any more questions, feel free to privately PM me or PM me through Freedom Fighters, and I'll try and say a little bit more. Okay, thanks a lot, bye.